Special effects, is it? Okay, okay. Welcome to episode 1, More Salt by Cop Cooks. This is a little cooking show that I've put together for you so we can bring a little bit of life and food culture into the Birmingham scene where I'm really proud to be from. So we're going to just slowly take you through a series of ingredients and a series of processes today. And the main dish is going to be a whole roasted cauliflower with a walnut and caper pesto. It's going to be finished with some crispy capers, beautiful little herb salad, and a little bit of fresh onion in there as well. All right. So we're going to start with this little baby. I've been trying to lower my meat intake, and this has kind of inspired that a little bit, and trying to use a vegetable like you would a big bit of gammon or beef that you might baste, and we're going to treat this in the same way. So the humble cauliflower is where we're going to start, really. So with the cauliflower, it sits quite well on its ass, on its sweet little ass. So we're going to just pull out a couple of the outer leaves here and snap these off, but you do want to keep a couple of these inner leaves here. What these do is we're going to roast this high in the oven, and we'll get to that stage shortly. But these naturally kind of crisp up, and they char on the outside, and with a little bit of salt on them, it's just fucking outrageous to eat, really. So if you start pulling back the larger outer leaves, and then these younger little leaves on the outsides, these can be showing. Safe. So the beautiful thing about cauliflower is it's got all of these gorgeous little holes in it, and all that is just an area for flavour to just seep into. If I was going to season this now with olive oil and butter, which we'll go into, this type of texture, it's kind of, you know, it's going to touch the surface, but it's not going to be penetrating in there. Now, the way that we do that is by giving it a little blanch and some hot water over here. And what that will do is it will kind of make it more porous, and then our buttery, sexy fucking parsley butter and olive oil will just slip straight down and start to come all the way through to the cauliflower into these little beautiful florets. So just move on to the back. We've got a big pan of water here boiling away. Season fucking every bit of water that you're ever going to use. If that tastes like salt, then this will taste like salt, and then that will be better. We're going to talk a lot in these series about flavour profiles. There's an unbelievable show on Netflix, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, and I advise you to go and watch it. But a lot of these recipes and my recipes in general will be hitting a lot of those different flavour notes, and how we start as a base, even just from boiling, is we're going to get a little bit of salt through it. So this is where we start. So heavily salt, and when I say heavily, you want it to taste like the ocean. And taste your water, okay? Yeah, tastes like horrible salty water. Okay, so last thing you want to do with this cauli is just have a tight little trim on the bottom, okay? Just so that sits nicely, yeah? So we're gonna go top side down, straight into the pan, and we're just gonna let that sit there and just chill out for 5 minutes. Let me just put a quick timer on that. So like I say, that now is gonna soften, and it's just gonna be like warm and sexy, and all of these little oily, buttery flavors are gonna be able to start penetrating through the cauli a little bit more easily. Look, if we were in a restaurant setting, we would have had a load of this shit done already. We're going to be making a pesto. You can do that 3 days before, get a little layer of oil on top, stick that in the fridge. We're going to be doing some crispy capers to finish. Again, that can be sitting for a day, finishing there, just in a little pot ready. But I'm going to take you through the process. The first thing that we're going to start to do is just give these walnuts just a little bit of a toast to really bring out that flavour. Any nut, toast it. What I will say is keep your eye on it, put a timer on it, because nuts are expensive. These are more expensive than chicken breast at the moment, walnuts. So put it on a tray. Just gonna grab a quick tray. Some of the trays that I've stolen from every single work that I've ever had. So we're just gonna look for about a handful of nuts, which is around about that for our pesto, okay? So we're just gonna throw this into an oven. Oven's at 180. And you can see on the timer, we've just put that in for about 3.5 minutes. So by the time that cauli's done, then these nuts are going to be done, and we can start bringing everything together a little bit slowly. All right. So, a couple of the ingredients that we're going to be using for the cauliflower. Expensive butter, guilty as charged. Take me away, officer. Okay. And then one of my personal favorites, man, this is zataar, there's a few ways to say this. This is like, it's like a Middle Eastern thyme, a Palestinian thyme. Look, you can go like standard with this, or you can go flex, which this is. So these have got some oregano running through it, a little bit of thyme, little specks of sesame, and it just brings such a woody, sexy texture to the collie. So again, talking about flavor profiles, we're gonna be here kind of herbaceous, earthy. Cauliflower's rooty, earthy, deep. Capers, salty, briny. We're gonna be hitting it with a little bit of lemon. So already here, we've got salt from the capers. We've got a little bit of acidity from the capers. We've got earthiness here from the zataar that's gonna be roasted with. And all throughout these ingredients, all throughout this recipe, you're gonna see little hits of different styles of flavor. So we'll see that in just a minute. Let me drip my tea, okay? Right, so, collie's working away. It's got about 2 minutes left on it. So let's just get some ingredients ready for our pesto. So we're gonna work here with just 2 cloves of garlic to take the skin off. I'm sure you already know this. Just give it a little crush in between your hands. And then that skin slips straight off. Okay, so in the pesto, we're gonna use parsley. This is used loads in Middle Eastern cuisine. It's a real grassy, real fresh, real herby sort of ingredient, and it's gonna just work really well to kind of cut through that buttery cauliflower. Rip a handful off. Stalks included. All these people that are like, you need to pick individual leaves, because I would bet 1 out of 100 people will say, that's got fucking parsley stalks in it. So don't worry about that, rip it off, enjoy it, and we'll work with that. So in a bowl now, we've got some garlic, we've got some parsley. We're gonna use half a red chili. Again, that heat, this isn't gonna blow your head off, it's just gonna be a little warming flavor. Again, you're just adding those extra notes, that extra feel, that extra something along the back, and it's just gonna make for a better dish. So slice it down the middle. And again, the seeds are the thing that are the hottest. So we can just really easily scrape that out just with the end of your knife. Now you can throw these in whole. I'm not gonna use a pestle and mortar today, which is classic for a pesto. I don't think it's needed. Some people might say that it's better. I've got a little sweet hand blender, so that's what I'm gonna use. And it's kind of a nice way to show you, if you don't have a pestle and mortar, you might have a food processor, just different ways to do it. So I'm just gonna show you a pretty simple cut on how to do this. So if you slice all the way down, each length, then straighten up, and then run your knife down, we've got a nice little brunoise cut there. Just a nice little dice all the way down. Okay, so, and again, just let me get my board cleaned up. Okay, then just run your knife, rock back and forward, all the way down. Okay, cool. So that's our timer for our nuts, and that's our timer for our collie. So just let your nuts hang out on a board. All you've done here is open up a little bit of the oils, give it that roasty feel. It's just gonna make fucking shit taste nicer. It's just that simple, really. So we're gonna take this collie out, 2 forks or a pair of tongs. And we're gonna turn it head side up. Now, can you see here how that consistency's changed? That's now gone from a kind of hard, rooty veg that oil would just slip off to becoming a fucking vessel now to just get shit inside of this and get it tasting good. So just let that hang out for just a second. You don't want it to be steaming too much. Everything's just gonna run off it. Take your collie off. Sorry, take your collie water off. Drain that. So my oven was on there, 180 degrees for these nuts. We're gonna keep it at 180. So the next steps really is we're just gonna add the chilies into this parsley and garlic bowl. And we're just gonna pay our attention now to the collie. So this is steaming up. We've still got some little beautiful leaves intact. And we're now just gonna dress this. So olive oil, This is a beautiful little Cypriot olive oil. Respect to my friends that brought it back from holiday. Thank you so much. So look at this now. Yeah, this is warm, it's glistening, it's soaking down into the colour, right? So let's think about now what we need to add to this. Butter. Let's massage some butter in. If you're vegan, you can do this. If you're vegan, just add olive oil, add a lot more than what I'm doing. So I've got 2 tablespoons here of butter. You're gonna add 2 more tablespoons of olive oil to make this sing. Let this just sit on top and just massage this on top. The reason that I'm doing this on top and giving it like a little bit of a butter hat is it's gonna soak down during roasting, right? I'm gonna show again, another 2 tablespoons. There's gonna be 4 tablespoons here of butter across the dish. So again, fit it into some little holes if you can. You see how this opens up here? And then this flavour is just gonna keep fucking going. Right, cool. So, now let's think about flavourings. Salt, standard. Salt, salt, salt. The show's called More Salt. The majority of people that I see that don't season their food enough, it makes me very angry. So, let's season. Salt. Some of this might fall off, but we're gonna give it we're essentially gonna turn this around and mop it up and twist it and get it all in there nice and beautiful. So, salt all over, cracked black pepper. Love black pepper. And then zataar. So this kind of thymy, woody herb. And we can pick this up now. It started, I mean, I've got a little bit of asbestos hands from chefing. But look at that, man. That is just... And then don't forget all these little bits here, all these little bits in here. And then look here. So you've got a little zataar butter oil bath here. And then just twist it and turn it and twist it and turn it. And then just let that sit there for a second. All right, just have a little wash down. We clean. Okay, we've had a little clean down. Again, not to be your boss, work clean, makes everything nicer. You're not gonna get shouted at by your wife. Also, shout out to wifey. She's about to give birth in about 5 days. Probably shouldn't be doing a cooking show, but never mind. Right, so we've got a little beautiful butter roasted cauliflower here. Now, we're gonna be tipping our little zataar oil blend all over. Can you just see how that sits in? Get all of this shit out, man. You don't want to be letting anything drop. So I don't need to tell you that all of these crevices here, this is all going to soak in and this is going to give it a beautiful crust on top. So you don't want to go quite hard on the roast. You want to give this a little bit of a kind of blackened, charred skin. So the way that we're going to do that is by roasting and continually basting. Like I said at the start, treat this like meat. If you had a piece of beef in that oven, or a piece of, let's go to fucking Christmas, let's say turkey. What do you do at turkey? What do you do with turkey? Take it out of the oven, base. And this is what we're gonna do. This should be, for this size, which is probably a small to medium, gonna be taking about an hour. Larger, I'd say along the 90-minute mark. And it's preference. You don't have to listen to me the way that you want something cooked. I'm gonna advise you in the ingredients and the method and how you wanna do it. I actually like my collie with still a little bit of a snap. I'm Irish, my nan had 16 root veggies on the Sunday dinner table that were all mushed to pieces. I'm not doing that anymore, okay? So this is gonna be roasted on the top, still buttery, still smooth, but I want those little stems to have a little bit of a snap to it. So I'm gonna throw this in the oven now at 180, and we're gonna set it on a timer for 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes, we're gonna baste, so 20, 20, 20 based, all right? So we're gonna throw that in. Okay, so, actually let me just set a timer on that. Set it for 18, what a rule breaker. Okay, so that's basting now, and that's roasting now, and we're gonna be basting that every 20 minutes. So the kind of hard bit's done, and that's not hard. You've boiled something, you've covered it in butter, you've put it in the oven, you've used some quality ingredients, and we're gonna move from there. So let's move on to the pesto. I kind of pre-started this as shit was boiling away. But in this bowl, we've got a handful of parsley, beautiful, with the stalks, as I say, these people that say you're supposed to take it off, don't worry about it. 2 cloves of garlic, half the chili de-seeded, okay? So we're gonna just start with this in a food processor, add oil, get it beaten, and get it to a certain consistency, and then we can start adding our wetter ingredients, which is gonna be capers, and then a bit of a hard cheese, which is gonna kind of emulsify and incorporate everything together. All right, so, I've got a really cool little hand blender here. Again, what I would do if it was a pestle and mortar, beat your herbs, move these around, start getting all those oils out, and then naturally add oil, add oil, add oil, so it becomes a little bit of a kind of sloppy, herby consistency, and then gradually at a time, adding what you need to add with these ingredients. So as I say, nice big bunch and handful of parsley. I'm gonna go in here with some garlic and some chili. And then just start to whiz this. Now you see, it looked like quite a lot when you started up to here. Like everything's going to break down and it's going to just start getting chopped down. So what might look like a lot probably isn't. So if you were going to do this for 6 to 8 people, let's say you're going to do a huge collie, 2 people, you can probably double this recipe up, all right? Okay, so we're now going to take our olive oil and just incorporate this. So just keep going with that until you can really feel it. My bad. Until you can really feel it start to feel glassy. So you see now that changes from that kind of chopped herb to becoming a little bit of a slurry. Slurry, thank you brother, I appreciate that. So here we go, right? We've got the slurry for Big Willie. Okay, now, so capers, walnuts. So we've toasted these walnuts. And what does that do? Brings out flavour. Thank you for saying it before me. Okay, so walnuts go in. Again, I'm not going to tell you to fucking measure out walnuts. It's like 50 grams. Handful of parsley, big bunch of parsley, palmful of walnuts, a tablespoon or 2 teaspoons of capers, half a chilli, and 2 cloves of garlic are in here at the moment. Taste it. If you feel it needs more acidity, it needs more salt, then just add it. Okay, the way we're going to add acidity, if it needs it, is going to be through this lemon. Capers naturally are sat in a brine. You can get these in water. I prefer using the brine. You can bring these into, like you can bring that brine there into this pesto and get a little bit of acidity through that. So we're going to give this a mix up. We're definitely going to need more oil. You see how that's already quite dry. By the time we mix that together, it's going to be much firmer and much harder. Okay, Daddy. Right, so this is what it looks like. Everything's coming together now. It's incorporating, it's working well. What I feel this is going to need now is oil. Once you've got that consistency, then it's flavour testing. Remember what I said, salt. Okay, we can use that with a pinch of salt. Is it going to need some lemon? I don't know. Is it going to need a little bit more heat? I don't know. So we're just going to continually test those things. Don't be afraid of this oil, okay? That looks like the right amount, he says. So give that another little whiz, kids. You don't want this pesto too wet, you don't want it running off. We're going to kind of top the cauliflower with this so it kind of sits on top and it's almost acts as a bit of a chunky kind of puree pesto. Yeah, that's cool. I'm probably going to go just a touch more oil, just depending on seasoning. And then we're going to finish with just a bit of pecorino. Okay, loads more salt. So, I'm going to put a pinch of salt in now. It's got great heat there from the chili at the back. And then I'm going to put the juice of 1 lemon in. It needs acidity. What acidity does as well, it's similar to salt. It doesn't make this, well, it makes it more acidic, but it also brings everything else out around it. So adding the right flavours at the right time, salt, lemon, you're going to taste the parsley more, you're going to taste the capers more. So lemon goes in, okay? And also, as you can see, it's making everything just a little bit wetter as well. Right, let's give this another little blend. I'm going to work on this. I'm not just stopping when it's the right consistency. You might do this 5, 6 times. Keep going until you've got a perfect product. Cool, man. That's nice. Yeah, lovely. So if we just have a little look straight in here, that's a nice, that's kind of the consistency that I want. I might add just a touch more oil for service at the end, so this will kind of split out. Oh, okay. So, yeah, that's great. That's it, it cuts through. I'm just gonna add a little touch of pecorino now, a little knobful. What that's gonna do is add a little bit of a fatty mouthfeel to it as well, so it's gonna round everything off. Give me just a sec. Pecorino, Parmigiana, anything like this, beautiful little Italian hard cheese. I'm gonna use this much. What I say about mouthfeel is, it's gonna coat this a little bit more and finish that dish and give it a bit more of a roundness and a bit more of a richness. That's the word I'm looking for, richness. So, if you just wanna get your little peeler, grate this in. Yeah, I'd leave this out, Willie, yeah, man. I mean, there's probably a way that you could Monte, like add in a little bit of vegan butter in at the end, because that's kind of what you're missing. It's that kind of mouth feel. But it's fine to leave, look, if you don't want to use vegan butter, if you don't use anything else, just leave it out. It's not going to change that dish too much. Right, so I'm probably trying to add just a little touch more oil. I need some more oil, okay? If you go on holiday again, come back. I'm gonna give this a little blend up. Yeah, dope, that's lovely. So, like I said earlier, that is fairly thick for a pesto. You might have a little kind of puddle of oil in. I am going to finish this on the table with a little bit of oil underneath, so that will naturally kind of split out. I don't want this too oily now. Okay, let me just give it a quick taste up. There, we're there, man. That pecorino really just rounds everything out, man. Gives it much more of a depth of flavour. Right, let me get this into a bowl. So there we are. We're slowly prepping along. This is your mise en place. In the kitchen, that's what you kind of stick to. It means everything in its place. So you can slowly start to tick stuff off, right? Pesto done, cauliflower in the oven, what's next? And then really start thinking a little bit more like a chef. Yeah, this is beauty, man. Cool. There we are, so pesto done. A lot of the hard work's done. This is a simple dish, man. This is what I mean, like, if you go, what I want these cooking shows to be doing is teaching you that it's not that scary. How many ingredients has it been? There might be 10 here all together. So don't be afraid to just come in. This is really process-led cooking. Follow it along the line, taste, and it's gonna be beautiful. Right, we're gonna finish the dish with just a real fresh herb and onion salad, okay? It's just gonna sit along. Again, what it's gonna bring is a little bit of brightness to the dish. Cool.